Good morning. Finally, here I am, and here you are, despite everything. We have quite a storm here in Nashville. I thought I was going to not have any power. I'm drinking an extra warm cup of coffee, and I will be telling you why in a minute. Out of a makeshift mug. So I hope you're all doing great this Saturday the 26th, and we're starting at noon instead of the traditional 11 a.m. Central. I hope that didn't throw too many of you off. It was a sort of an 11th hour last minute call that I had to do because I just wanted to share some things with you today, including some information on a couple products that I received and a sort of impromptu feeding of all of the fish that I want you folks to take a look at as I do it. And I see we have some folks here who have been patiently waiting and maybe wondering what the heck is going on. Hey, Michael, good to see you here, buddy. Good morning to you. And DSGF, looks like it's starting an hour later. Yes, you are right. Here we are. Whip. Sorry, buddy, I should have sent you an email. Were you sitting around for an hour? I hope not. So let's see here. Wally's Freshwater Aquatics in the house. Hey, Warren, good to see you. Tracy's here, and Brian Park in the house, and Uncle Smiley. That's some good names here. Robin Rayner. Hey, Razin Fishes. Hydroponic Aquarium and Plants. What a great name. Glad you're here. Mostly Mabuna. By the way, I appeared in Cichlid Charmer's video today. He was discussing Mabuna. I chimed in. I haven't had Mabuna in a while, but I gave him my 2 cents, my thoughts about Mabuna. So check out Cichlid Charmer for his video on Mabuna, and check out my short little video clip in the middle of it. How's the AV? How's the video? How's the sound? Let me know. I was this morning. I was the proverbial one-legged man in the butt-kicking contest. That probably describes me this morning. I was running around and went and got my early voting done at the local library. It was pretty crowded, and tried to get too much into one morning, but here we are, my friends. Whip's World, Denny, my wonderful moderators in the house. MedCow74, what a surprise. I like the 1 o'clock start. I can watch even when I work. Oh, okay, good. Maybe, who knows, maybe 12 will work out. Kind of splits the day in half for some of us. It might not work. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a survey over at the YouTube community page and consider changing the time. So, Whip's World, what do you do? Oh, my goodness. Hey, Denny, another one of my wonderful moderators. Proverb 21:19 in the house. Good to see you. AV good. Thank you, Warren. Appreciate that. Raisin Fish is liking this time better. All right. What time zone are you in again, Raisin? What time zone? That makes a difference, too. I know if you're in California, when I start at 11, that's 9. It'll be starting at 10 in California. Who knows? Maybe noon will become the time. Helps me have a little bit of a longer morning on Saturday. So this next coming weekend, there will be no live stream. I will be in Northern California attending my son's wedding to a wonderful gal, beautiful gal. He's been with her for over 5 years, and they're finally going to go ahead and tie the knot, and there's going to be about 120 people there, and I just can't wait. I'm so excited, and the whole family's going to be there, so it's going to be like a reunion. And anyway, no live stream next weekend. I am going to be in one of those life event moments, and I just can't wait. Hydroponic is Central. Okay, so it's noon for you as well. All right, resin fishes in Central. Okay, so noon works. Sounds good. So you folks know, for those of you familiar with the channel, hey, Robert Johnson has just joined us. So you will be streaming 2 hours to make up for that. I don't know if I have 2 hours of stuff to talk about, my friend. Robert Johnson wants 2 hours. Good afternoon to the Cotton Man. So at any rate, you know, I talk a lot about feeding, and you know what some of my key points are on feeding. And I put together a short video of me walking around and actually feeding the fish. But there's an ulterior motive to that video, and I'll tell you what it is. I'm going to be away for a few days for the wedding, so I want the person who's watching my house and house sitting to watch that video, so they have a video to refer to when they feed my fish. So at any rate, everything has a purpose. Like Rodney Dangerfield said about his intimate relationship with his wife, he said, she always has a purpose. This morning she used me to time an egg. Oh, I loved Rodney. Rodney Dangerfield. Those of you under the age of 50 probably don't know him. So let's see here. Let's take a look at, well, I've got two videos for you, and I'll play you one first. I made a comment about how this coffee is extra warm today, and it's because I was sent a couple products, and the room is nice and toasty as well. I've got two great fish room products that were sent to me. Let me just go ahead and play this for you, and hang in there. It's going to be released as a standalone video, but big shout out to LIRAT, LERAT, LIRAT, a company out of China that sent me these products. Tell me what you think in the comments. Here we go. It's short and sweet. I'm constantly being offered products. I think once your channel exceeds 50,000 subscribers, YouTube offers your information, or there's some kind of a deal with vendors that get a hold of your contact information, and you receive an email talking about how they visited your channel and how much they liked it and how it's a perfect fit for what they're trying to sell, which is just a form letter. It really has, I mean, you'd be shocked the stuff I get. I get like children's toys, makeup, all kinds of stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with fish, and yet it comes in. But I got this, which you normally wouldn't think is related to a fish channel, but it actually does apply in particular to my Saturday live streams. This is called a Smart Mug Warmer, and it's from a company called LIRAT, L-E-R-A-T, and they're marketing here in the United States. Like so many companies, they're out of China, and they offered this to me. And as you know, when I do my live streams, I do it with a cup of coffee, and by the end of the live stream, the coffee still tastes good, but it's a little cold. So what they've sent me is this coffee warmer. It's actually pretty nice, and it gets up to 149 degrees. Can take a cup of coffee that's cooled down and warm it up again. It works with glass, metal cups, box drinks, plastic cups. Interesting. Doesn't melt them, I guess. And uses 25 watts, has 3 temperature settings, and the heating panel is made of metal, so it should be pretty resilient. After 8 hours, it will automatically shut off, so if you go away and forgot to turn it off, don't worry, it'll turn itself off. And so this is going to become part of my Saturday live streams. I'm going to be using it in today's live stream. And I'll probably play this video during the live stream just to acquaint you with this. If you want to pick up this product, go to LIRAT, the LIRAT store on Amazon. The product has a high star rating, and they've sold thousands of them. Let's take a look at the cord, because that's going to be an important issue. Well, you know, a longer cord would be nice. This is maybe, I don't know, 4 feet. So maybe a little bit longer cord, LIRAT, would be a good idea, especially for somebody who's vlogging and has 100 cords running from computers and cameras and stuff. But we'll test this during today's live stream and see what kind of job it does at keeping my my coffee warm. Nice little unit. Obviously has some sort of sensor to determine. Oh, you got an on-off switch on the front. So let's try this during today's live stream. And now with the winter months here, LIRAT also sent me this. A portable ceramic space heater, which is actually has 500 more watts than the one I'm using currently. I have one right now called Dr. Heat, which I really like, but it's big and bulky on wheels. And this one is this one has several settings, and it has the kind of things you'd expect from a unit like this. In other words, if it gets knocked over, it'll turn off, and so you don't have to worry about it getting knocked over by a pet or a child and have it, you know, burn the house down. Very small, very compact. This is going to be a lot better than the big one I'm rolling around right now. See it right here. 1,500 watts. That's really strong. It's got a small footprint, and it has several settings. You don't have to run it at 1,500. You can run it as low as 700, and it does have a thermostat built in. So now that it's getting cold, especially here in the fish room, this is going to be a nice addition. Comes with the kind of heavy-duty cord you would expect on something like this. I'll unravel it here and show you. Kind of like a 12 gauge maybe. 12 gauge cord. Pretty heavy duty, not grounded. Just a regular plug-in. Nice handle for carrying it around. Extremely light. Extremely light. So for being so small, it definitely packs a lot of power. So I'm going to plug this in and test it also during the live stream. And two products from LIRAT out of China. Two products that I actually can use in the fish room, and in particular during live streams. A coffee warmer and a heater from LIRAT on Amazon. So check them out. I'll include some links underneath this live stream and underneath this video where I feature these. By the way, the coffee warmer does come with this little mug. Maybe I'll throw a channel sticker on it and make it my my official live stream Cichlids and Coffee mug. So there you go. Check them out. All right. So there you go. Thank you to my friends over at LIRAT for sending me over those 2 items. The room is going to be nice and toasty. My coffee is on the warmer right now at 104 degrees, and I've jerry-rigged their ceramic mug and turned it into a channel mug. There you go. 104 degrees is what the little warmer says on it. So we had some new arrivals coming in, and let's see. Ronald, I do want to get one of those. That sounds great. After fishing, a hot cup of Joe is wonderful. Yeah, at some point, Wally, I'm probably going to have to pop for a split unit, just get a unit to actually, or run a vent, run one of the ducts into the garage. The garage is already insulated. I have insulation around the door and insulation on the garage door. So and I have a fan blowing 24/7 from the house into the garage. But I think eventually an actual ducking solution would be the best way to go. So Ronald, well, I'm sorry to hear about your mom, and nice to have a little something from her now that she's gone. So let's talk a little bit about feeding, and I do have another video for you on feeding. Before we get into it, do any of you have any questions you'd like to ask me before we jump into the feeding video and discussion? Any thoughts, ideas, or questions? Start them with Ben Ochart, or just start them with Ben if you want on the chat, just so they get my attention and I don't just stream right by them. And I'll go ahead and answer any questions you might have. Denny, did I say good morning to you? I hope so. All right. If there are no questions, we will proceed. By the way, some of the new fish that I've added to the fish room, the Tapajos, the redhead Tapajos, the 3 from the first batch are doing extremely well. You'll get a glimpse of them in the next video. And the little clown loaches, I can see some of them from here, are just being extremely cute, like clown loaches are. And I was thinking of possibly consolidating all of the geos into one tank, making it easier for the person who's going to be house sitting to feed the aquariums, less chance for error, but we'll see. We'll see if I do that. And where do you think I should put those little geos? Do you think those little geos should go in the 90-gallon? And with the Congo tetras, the little feste, the electric brocara, the albino cara, you think, and the red spotted severum, you think they should go in there in the 90, or should I try them in the planted tank for a while and let them put on some size there? I mean, the truth is that they're as big or bigger than that little feste that I added. Now, granted, that female red tear has a lot of attitude. She comes with a lot of attitude. Even though I will say she has really mellowed out, and just I'm watching her right now. She just kind of keeps to herself and doesn't mess with anybody. So a couple of fish that I thought would be nippy, the feste, the algae eater. I mean, I was afraid they would go after the long fins of the Congos and the long trailers of the Acara and the H. hecali, but they haven't. They actually, maybe because I keep them like pretty well fed. I'm feeding them twice a day now, and maybe that's chilling them out a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know what that is, but Robert, you read my mind. The little clowns are doing great, very shy. They like to stay in the caves. Jerry Martin, who I don't think Jerry's here today, but oh yeah, there he is. Hey Jerry, how you doing, buddy? Jerry has clowns that he hardly ever sees. You know, they're just in a big cave all the time. But he's got a clown that's like this. He's got a massive clown and several other small ones. You really got to have them in groups. They're very unhappy if they're alone. And the few times that I've owned one clown loach, it didn't last. They usually would go a few months, and I tell you, I don't want to sound sappy, but it sounds like it looked like they die of loneliness. I mean, they really love playing with each other and the camaraderie of running around together and exploring together. And all you have to do is watch them for 5 minutes, and you'll say, okay, these are very social fish that really thrive in the, and you know, part of their thriving is the interaction they have with each other. So so they're doing great, and not really sure where I'm going to put them, because of course you can't put them in tanks with snails because they are snail destroyers. Some people immediately expressed concern when I picked up clowns. Oh my goodness, those fish get huge. Where are you going to put them? I mean, they get so large, but as I'm sure Jerry will attest, the clown loaches take a long time to get huge. I mean, they probably grow like a Jack Dempsey or a green tear. They get big, but it takes 3 or 4 years or more, 5 years or more, before you look at them and go, wow, that's a big clown. So I'm not worried about the size. And the truth is, they hold their own. They have these little spines, these pickers that come out at the side of their mouths. And when they get agitated, those pickers come out and they move their head side to side. And anybody that messes with them pays a severe price. This is why you can keep them with African cichlids. And who knows, maybe they'll end up in the 300-gallon. Certainly not now, because they probably end up in someone's mouth. But, you know, when they get 3, 4 inches, 5 inches, a little chunkier, they could probably go in here, as long as I provide them with some nice caves. This would be a great cave for some big clowns. Look at this thing. This is from my friends over at Underwater Galleries. In Southern California, this is a studio apartment, and it's $3,000 a month. But it's a cave you can use. It's a cave you can use in your aquarium. I had it in with the green tear, but it's I would probably put it in here if I put the clowns in there. They would all go in there and just have a lot of fun. So just some guy. I've noticed a lot of people prefer the green tear over the red. I wonder if the red, well, the red tear, now, all I can share with you is something anecdotal. My red tear is a lot bigger than my green tear. So if my green tear was that as big as my red tear, would he be as mellow as he is right now? I don't know. The green tears I've seen seem to kind of lumber around and kind of be kind of like my a little bit like my vieja. They just kind of hang out and don't mess with anyone. But I bet you if I just do a little survey at the community page on YouTube, I'll get a lot of horror stories about green tears. You know, people telling me, well, anything with the word tear in it, you know, is going to be a problem. So, but the red tear, when I put them in the 210-gallon, at first was getting a little bit bullied by everyone, including the much smaller Salvini. But it didn't take that long before he had the Vieja and the Oscars corralled into the far left corner of the 210-gallon. So I had to pull him out because he was just too hard on them. He is a big brute. And I'm not even sure if I'd own one if Whip hadn't. I'm not blaming you, Whip. I'm not holding it against you, my friend. But I love that red tear, and I can't wait to see the female, also from Whip, that little Feste female. I can't wait to see her put on her adult female red tear colors. Hot coffee. All right. So let's see here. Any questions? I have 2 of those caves, and all my clowns hide in them. I know, Jerry. I've seen them, and I know it's kind of a treat when they come out. That and that albino, is it a Bichir? The albino Bichir? They're like hiding all the time. Jerry, you're making me hungry. Gonna have some pulled pork? I live down here in Nashville in pulled pork country. Just some guy. That's a good question, just some guy. I actually have that experiment going on right now. And I'll tell you, if you watch one of my recent videos, the red shoulder was going toe-to-toe with the Salvini. He was not backing down. And I say he, I'm not sure if it's a male, but the red shoulder was holding his ground against the red tear, which was very, very impressive. And, holding his ground against the Salvini, which was very, very impressive. And he's out and about right now. They're all just foraging because I fed them right before this video. So the chocolates kind of hang out near the back of the aquarium. They're in the shadows a bit. They kind of stay off the radar. They're very shy. But I'll tell you one thing about chocolates. They have teeth, and they have quite the bite. And I got bit pretty hard by one. They didn't have the power of the Oscar. The Oscar bit me one time, and I could pull him out of the tank. It was like having a vice close on your finger. But those chocolates have teeth, and those teeth are something. And you know, Wally's freshwater again. I mean, all I can say is it'll be an issue for you in about 8 or 9 years. It's not going to be an issue right away. They're not like Oscars. They don't grow fast. They grow very slow, actually. Ronald, yep, I'm very happy too, and I'm really, really surprised at how pretty they are as a younger Feste before their adult colors come in. If she stayed with those markings that she has now, she would be a pretty fish. And the fact that they get that crazy dramatic coloration is like an amazing bonus. And probably an adult female Feste is probably one of the, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful freshwater fish out there. Different than the sort of, you know, scribble mosaic of a discus fish, which is beautiful, or the, you know, the bright blue, electric blue face and coloration of an African cichlid. I mean, they're all beautiful in their own way, but the striking yellow, black, and red, a little bit like a Salvini. It's just like a showstopper fish. So, really looking forward to watching that fish put on some size and adult coloration. Do the fronts have Robert, do the fronts have teeth? I had one, but it was a young one. I was shocked at how big their mouth can get. their mouth, for their size, their mouth gets, it's almost like a gulper catfish. I mean, if a feste is like this big, the mouth will open up like this. I mean, it's like this opens up like the height of their body. It's insane. It's like they have a disjointed jaw or something. But that was shocking to me. But do they have teeth? And if it drew blood, my goodness. Pork, the other white meat, yeah. A friend of mine is sending me texts. He wants to go to, he goes, hey, let's go to Hattie B's and get hot chicken. So I told him, hey, look, I started late. He's sending me texts. He's like, hey, I'm hungry, man. If you've been to Nashville, you got to get hot chicken. I mean, that's like, it's a big deal here. All right, let's see here. Joe, it was a good day to join late because I didn't start until noon. Your green tears had fry. That is awesome. And I hope you have the a setup so you can grow them out. You'll probably be able to sell them either on Craigslist or take them to your local fish store for a credit. Green tears are beautiful. You know, that happened to me, Joe. I had an all-male 150-gallon acrylic African cichlid tank in California, all male. And then I found fry. Surprise! And they were living behind an artificial background. I had one of those universal rock backgrounds, and so they could get back there, but the big fish couldn't. And they were back there living and doing their thing. And one day I decided to clean behind there, and I found them. Just some guy wants to know about ditherfish. Come on, folks, chime in. What ditherfish do you recommend? Now, it depends what kind of fish are you putting them in with. I've got those silver dollars that are thriving in my 210-gallon. They're huge. They're this big as my hand. They're getting good size. Those were ditherfish. They school around, and they're kind of pretty in their own way, you know, for just an all silver fish with a little red in the anal fin. But I think they're very pretty. Silver dollars might be a good one. How about giant danios? How about a group of giant danios? They'll get kind of chunky. They school. They're distracting. That might be a good ditherfish. So go ahead, jump in, folks. What's a good ditherfish? Let some guy know. And Wally's Freshwater Aquatics, my three amigos in California were in a 100-gallon aquarium. And I had them in there for several years. And when I sold the aquarium and the fish, they were probably 3 inches long. And they were healthy and fat and colorful and playful. They used to stack on top of each other. I mean, it was hilarious. And they thought they were cichlids. They would go to the top and eat with the cichlids. So Anthony Pride says that the best dithers, in my opinion, is the Denison barb, Congo, tetras, or silver dollars. There you go. There you go, just some guy. The community has come through for you. Yep, Jerry, the silver dollars, I think I've got, 5 of them? And I wasn't sure how they do. I wasn't sure if they're going to get torn apart. And they just hang out. They didn't school so much when they were in the 90. And I think because of the larger aggressive fish, schooling for security. So they school tighter in a more threatening environment. They didn't school the way they school now when they were in the 90s. They were all over the tank. I put them in there, and boy, they became a tight unit and stay tight. And I think it's because they're in a more dangerous environment, which I like, because I love watching them school and swim together like that as a group. So kind of a cool thing. And Michael says that the giant Danios are a good dither fish. There you go. And I think Wally agrees. As long as you don't try keeping them with big cichlids. Yeah, and again, I mean, you got to use that rule of thumb. Anything that fits in their mouth is going to go in their mouth. And I guess they're good with plants too, Michael. If you have them in a planted tank, they must be okay with plants. That's my one misgiving about the putting the geos in the planted aquarium to put on some size, because I think they'll dig everything up, because they're constantly sifting sand, which is part of what I love about them. The AC Heckleis and the Akara sometimes are mistaken for geos. They don't sift sand. They don't dig up the sand. They're not classified as a geo anymore. The Heckleis and the albino Akaras, and they're not sand sifters per se. Just something to keep in mind if you're considering that fish. Well, let me share with you my next video that I prepared for you. And this is a video on feeding that will be released as a standalone video. And it is the feeding that occurred this morning. And I'm hoping the person who's going to be watching my house will watch it and get a good idea of how I feed. Any questions you have while this is playing, go ahead and put them in the chat. If you want me to address the questions, start it with Ben.o.cichlid, and I will. But let's go ahead and play this video on this morning's feeding of every aquarium here in the fish room. Here we go. Hope you enjoy this. Let's do a feeding of the tanks. Let me show you how I feed, what I feed, and in what volume, and why I do it that way. Let's go ahead and go all the way around and feed these guys. Don't let the container fool you. This is actually a combination of a lot of different kinds of food. There is Sarah in here, but there's also Northfin. There's some bug bites. There's cichlid protein. There's veggie. There's all types of stuff in here mixed in, and some Sarah. There's even, I think, maybe some Sarah community. I mean, there's just about a little bit of everything in here, and this is a very key staple for all my fish, except the smallest ones who can't handle a pellet this size. But we'll start here in the 300 gallon. When you're feeding very aggressive fish who are very good at attacking food, there is a pecking order. So you have to really be sure that you get to all of them. And so what I do is I'll hit each section of the aquarium will get hit with some food, starting here with the middle. Then I go over to the far right corner of the tank, far left. I just want to make sure everybody has a shot at it. Otherwise, the smaller, less dominant fish are not going to be able to eat. Let's give them a little more. They love this combination of stuff. It's a lot of variety. A little more over here, a little more over here. The 210 gallon gets the same treatment. All three sections on top are opened up. And this is going to give all the fish, including the more shy ones like the Nicaragua, an opportunity to get at the food. Let's see how high the Oscar will come out to get some food. He's a jumper, and he'll jump up all the way up to about midway out of the tank. So you got to watch out. He will latch onto your finger. You're not jumping today? Okay, I'll just drop some in. Looks like a lot, but it'll be gone in a few seconds. A little bit on this side. Some way over here. Chocolates get a shot at it. Big vieja. I've got some special circumstances here in the 90 in that I have to really make sure that I drop some food right over this guy, because I think his eyesight is not good, this albino Ochart. I think that resulted in the loss of some of the other Ocharas, but this one is a more aggressive eater. But I've just got to make sure I drop the food right over him, so I sort of entice him over to where I'm going to be feeding. And he's gotten really good at getting where the food is. I have a little hole here, and you can see the severum's already hitting it. That's my main concern, making sure that he's getting food. Everybody else is really good about it. Look at that little feste, so cute. Everybody else is pretty good about going after the food. But I've just got to really make sure, keep an eye on this one, make sure that he's able to get some pellets in his mouth. I'll also drop a pinch of food at the back, right here in the opening. And that kind of helps the Congos and the Buenos Aires tetras to get a little bit of food as well. I'll feed my new redhead tapajos pellets and flakes, and because I've got plecos in here, I'll also drop some pleco wafers. You can see here they love the same pellets I gave the cichlids, the same combination of pellets. What they don't eat, the plecos will go ahead and chomp up. I'll also drop some of these pellets into this tank with the clowns, the clown loaches, and 3 younger redhead tapajos. I'll put some flakes in there too. This crazy tank here with 100 bushy-nosed plecos, dozens of snails, a shrimp, and some little fry. They get a combination. I give them some of the pellets because they're high protein, and the plecos will go after them. You'll see the swarm start to converge on them. I also feed them some of this North Fin fry starter, and that's for the little guys that you see darting around there. I'll put it in the water and then just shake it around a little bit so it starts to sink, and they all have a shot at it. There's about 5 of those, and I still don't even know what they are. Just sort of magic fry that appeared, just like the red shrimp out of nowhere. You can see the plecos starting to converge on what I dropped in. It's truly a feeding frenzy. To make the frenzy more exciting, I'll drop a couple of these wafers. These are those North Fin pleco wafers, just so they totally lose their minds. I'll also put a pleco wafer in here, maybe 2. for these plecos here. And I'll put a wafer in here because I think the little clown loaches, they like wafers. I'm pretty sure the geos peck at them too. The red tear gets a pinch, just a pinch of some of these pellets. A little shy with the light on, but he'll eat them. He also loves the freeze-dried shrimp and freeze-dried tubifix cubes, like from Aquarium Co-op. Just something a little extra I always give him, and he'll go after that. He'll realize it's there and attack it like a shark. My planted aquarium gets a combination of food as well. And I'll give them some of these flakes. This is not just extreme. This is actually a variety of flakes. Some of Cunningham's flakes, some veggie flakes, just a whole mix. Again, you can see just a whole bunch of different stuff going on in there. And so I'll give them some of this. Now I've got some fish that like to eat on top and some fish that prefer to eat down low. And I also crush it up a little bit because I've got those little embers in there, ember tetras. They're really small. They need a smaller food if they have to get to have a chance at it. These 24K White Mountain minnows, they like to eat off the top usually. Everybody else gets it from all over. But I have to make sure that some goes down, or else, like the neon tetras, won't get at it. So I'll stir it around on the surface so the neons can get down there and get it. And the rummy nose. There's an assortment of Cory cats and plecos in this tank. They're just sort of hiding under the bright lights that I'm filming with. But for them, I'll go ahead and also throw in some of these wafers. I also get them from Sarah. There's two types. There's a bigger type, North Fin, and then there's the Sarah wafers. Little Otto loves them. There's other things I feed these fish, like they get cucumber and zucchini. They get bloodworms. The big cichlids get frozen krill, the African cichlids, and the South Americans get bloodworms. These fish, all the fish really get bloodworm treats except the African cichlids, but these will get bloodworms. The krill is exclusively for the African cichlids, the frozen krill. That's usually just their treat. I don't give them bloodworms. Well, that's a full feeding. I hope you enjoyed that. Any questions or comments, go ahead, note them below. I'll try and answer them. And my two tips are: use high quality food and use variety, and you'll get the best health and color and vitality out of your fish. And that's mostly what I operate off of. And always be aware that of how the fish are eating, making sure that the less dominant fish have a shot at the food. So spread it around if you have to, or even target feed over the fish that you feel needs to get at the food more easily. All right, so there you have it. Thanks for watching, my friends. I'll see you again soon. There you go. A 2-for-1. You got two videos. Two videos for the price of one. By the way, if anyone has done any super chats, I haven't really been watching, but if you have, thank you for that. If you don't know what super chats are, it's a way to support the channel by clicking at the bottom on the money sign, I think. It's how it's still set up, I believe. And while I'm on the subject, I would like to just do a very quick shout out to a couple folks, my friends over at the Aquarium Co-op. Thank you so much for your support, Zenzo, Corey, and the team over there. Always willing to help me out when I need it. Also, if you folks would like to support the channel in a very in a way that is very inexpensive, actually no cost at all, use this link to go to Amazon. You can visit my store, but if you just jump off of that link into your normal Amazon shopping, anything you buy on Amazon will give the channel a credit. So it's kind of a cool way to support the channel without spending any additional money. Also, a big shout out to one of my channel sponsors, and that is to Cunningham, to Josh, who I'm looking forward to seeing over at the Ohio Cichlid Association 30-year extravaganza. And Josh will be there, and I'll be there with Jerry Martin, and we'll be having some fun in Ohio. Use that coupon, that ben.o.15 for 15% off on fish, and ben.o.10 for 10% off on dry goods like food. Thank you to Josh for giving us that coupon. And also a very big shout out to those of you who support the channel on a monthly basis, my Patreon supporters. You have no idea how much you help me with the ongoing expenses of keeping things running here in the garage. You might think, well, gee, with 55,000 subscribers, don't you make a lot of money on YouTube? No. No, it hardly, it probably covers utilities. So thank you to my wonderful garage gang. Those of you who support the channel as Patreon members. Starts for as little as $3 a month, and it's very appreciated. So at any rate, let's see if there are any more questions. And Proverbs was asking about feeding, like feeder fish. And, you know, I've never used feeder fish. I've never used feeder fish intentionally. Let me just say that way, intentionally. I have provided feeder fish unintentionally. And those of you who keep cichlids, you know what I mean. That's right. Whip, are you going to be at the OCA? Are you going to be there, Whip? Let me know. Joe, I imagine you're going to be there, right? I mean, that's where I met you, at my talk at the OCA. Proverbs, yeah. Those super chats, it's like working with the mafia. You know, the mafia used to take 20% VIG, and they'd come break your knees if you didn't pay. YouTube takes 30%, but at least they don't break your knees. So I guess we're doing better. Oh my goodness. All right. Any other questions for me as we move into the hour? I like to keep things fish related, but I'm going to say this. For those of you baseball fans, whether you're a Dodger fan or not, you must admit the end of last night's game was epic. It was Gibson-esque. All that we were missing was Tommy Lasorda running out of the dugout, and I'm sure Fernando and Vin are smiling, looking down on the Dodgers. So anyway, what an ending to a game. Go Dodgers. Yes, I live in Nashville. Until we get a team, I'm going to be Dodger Blue. Even though you'd think I'm a Boston fan since my son works for the Boston Red Sox, and so I am a Boston fan. And if there was a Boston Dodger World Series, oh my goodness, that would be fun at my house. All right. Jerry Martin, how do you determine how much to feed? Well, I wish I had a scientific answer for you. I don't. It's really kind of a feel. And For a long time, I was so concerned about overfeeding that I think I was underfeeding and ending up with fish with a little bit of a sunken belly. If I have young fish in the tank, I'll feed a little more. Like in the tank behind me, I have those new cichlids from Andre at Beantown Aquatics. So I'm feeding a little extra because I want them to grow and I want the big fish to feel satiated and not go chasing them. My fry get fed twice a day. The fish in the planted tank get fed twice a day. I am feeding twice a day on the 90 because I want that albino to get a little extra food. So you just kind of, for me, it's just kind of by feel. The red tear gets fed once a day. I don't want to create a lot of waste in a 55-gallon with a large fish. So there's no rhyme or reason that's scientific. I just do it by feel, and I want all the food to be gone in like 60 seconds. I mean, sometimes you look at the sometimes you look at the food, the food container. It says food should be all gone in 5 minutes. No, that's way too long. I think if it's gone in a minute to 2 minutes, that's a good feeding. Now, in some tanks, again, it also depends on the kind of fish, and if I have fish that are very subdominant, I will distract the dominant ones to one side and feed the subdominant on the other side, and I'll repeat the process until I'm convinced everybody got a shot at it. But so there's no, I don't have an answer for you, really. It's just sort of a feel for it. And yes, it's a balancing act. Gone in 60 seconds. That's right, Whip. I want that food gone in a minute. Yeah, if you fed, as Michael is pointing out, if you feed your fish, and granted the cichlids eventually will get to it because they're always sifting after a feeding, but if you have like a bunch of food piled up on the bottom with African cichlids who attack the food at the top and on the way down, you're probably feeding too much. Other fish, like in my live bear tank, in my planted tank, a little food on the bottom with a very active cleanup crew of plecos and cories, I don't worry about it too much. But still, I don't like to see a lot of food on the bottom. But between the snails, the plecos, and the cories, they're not going to leave much on the bottom of the tank. So, Robert, you're feeding frozen food every day? That's a lot of protein. That's cool. I mean, if the fish are doing well, look good, that's cool. Heroin Manson? Yeah, it wasn't like that a few weeks ago. If you look at the live stream from 2 weeks ago, you'll see that the eye biter that has been removed was really firing around like a torpedo and bullying and kind of keeping the fish corralled to one side. And as much as it hurt me to do it, I had to go find him a new home. Proverbs, thank you for stopping by, my friend. It was good having you here. Whip Swirl says, I know I overfeed. Well, Whip, if you know you overfeed, why do you overfeed? All right. I was testing out a feeder. These tanks with the glass tops are just not designed for automatic feeders. I was using the Velcro and it was just a mess. And my first spin, I dumped way too much food in the tank. I had to go in there and scoop it out, and just a mess. I was hoping I could set up automatic feeders for while I'm gone. I gave up on that. I'm just going to leave baggies and instructions, or a container of food on top of each tank with exact instructions like I did in that last time I went away. So hopefully that'll work. Now, all that being said, if you don't feed your fish, let's say for a day, or a day and a half, or even a weekend, they're probably going to be okay. Fry might have a problem. Little teeny fry with a very high metabolism might have a problem. But keep in mind, some of these fish, when they're shipped, like from the Far East, they can be in a container for 2 days and actually arrive okay, despite the increased ammonia and everything else. Fish can go for a couple days, and they're probably going to be okay. So if you go to bed and you don't do your evening feeding, don't beat yourself up. Your fish are probably going to be fine. Congo Tetras, Mini Mike. I love Congo Tetras. Love the way mine look. Yeah, I hope, Heron, that somebody buys that eye biter and puts him in a tank where he'll be sufficiently subdominant. I'll probably ask him at the Aquatic Critter. I'll go by there and see if they sold him. I just hope he gets a good home. The baggies I use are just the regular pill, the kind you would use for pills. You know? About yay big. Small little baggies. And but what I'll probably do is like what I talked about in that last video. I'll leave an actual container of food with a Post-it on top of each tank. Because I keep my empty containers, and that way it's a lot easier for the person feeding. They can just reach in and drop a little food in, as opposed to using spoons. And in some cases I might leave spoons, but I think I'll do the containers instead of the baggies. But the baggies are just the little teeny pill baggies. And I've used so many different styles. I've used the like the medication, those medication containers, the plastic Monday through Sunday medication containers. That I've tried those. The key thing is just keep it real simple. So if the person watches the video that you folks just watched, and I leave real clear instructions, I think that they'll be fine. I'm looking at that albino Ochart. Boy, is he looking beautiful. He's staring at me in the 90-gallon. All right, my friends. I think I'm going to let you folks go to enjoy your weekend. I will see you in 2 weeks. I'll be in Northern California at my son's wedding, having a wonderful time, I'm sure. And that's it for me. You're the best. You rock. And I appreciate you, all of you, stopping in. And I think that being said, I think we'll go ahead and end off this stream. Thank you to my wonderful moderators, the best on YouTube. And I will see you folks in 2 weeks. Love you guys. You rock. Never forget. Bye-bye.